Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Heather Carden. I'm coming to you live from Ask Dr. Heather. I am the co-owner of Carden Center for Wellness, and I have developed this page to help you understand your journey towards optimal health better, to help keep you current and credible so you know what's going on. And say, hey Kathy, thanks for joining me. So based on some of the polls that we took, we announced last week some of the campaigns we're going to be running. So I wanted to review those. I've got several hundred questions about how are we getting it started? How are we going to do this? So we're going to do it in a variety of measures. So we are going to just do some basic Keto 101. 2 years ago, I didn't hear the word keto at all. Now we know every time we turn around, the word keto is on social media, it's on Facebook, it's on Pinterest, it's on TV, it's on different shows. You hear celebrities and athletes all talking about ketones and ketosis. So I definitely want to make sure that we all understand the difference between ketones, ketosis, ketogenic diet, and exogenous ketones. They seem to be getting intermingled quite a bit these days. And I all know that we are all unique individuals. We all have different healthcare goals. We're all starting at different places. So based on the poll that we took, we're going to be offering about 3 to 4 different programs. The first one's going to be just a free Keto 101. What are ketones? What is a ketogenic diet? We've studied it for almost 100 years. So if that's a program you want me to add you to, drop a 1 down there. Keep your notes here. If you're a person who's a little more type A, or if you're a little person who has a bigger health history, they've been metabolically stuck, they've cut out some of the garbage, and they've lost some fat, lost some inflammation, but they still aren't quite where they want to be and they can't figure out what's going on. Maybe you've seen your healthcare practitioner and they say everything's normal and okay, then that's a different group. We're actually going to do a little more face-to-face time, make sure we're calculating our macros. Some people need that help. Some people's bodies are so metabolically stuck that just the tiniest thing, even 15 minutes of sleep or 10 more minutes of exercise or 5 more ounces of water or 3 ounces less of protein is enough to shift their body into that fat burning machine you want it to be. And not everyone needs to be on a ketogenic diet. I do believe that everyone does need to eat clean and eat mindfully. So what we're going to do through all of our programs is we're going to hopefully help you understand that when you're eating and when you're consuming food, you're doing that for energy for your body. So your body understands that it's going to take that food macronutrient, break it down, and use it for XYZ, whether that's making iron or making magnesium or making inflammation or pro-inflammatory enzymes. So we understand what our body's going to do. So a free Keto 101, one that's a little more deep dive in, calculating your macros, helping you get unstuck. We do a lot of private coaching through our office, which is, I'll put that information down below, because some people want to have more one-on-one time. They want to understand maybe they've got thyroid conditions, they've had a history of cancer, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. They really don't know where to start. They are maybe have type 1, type 2 diabetes and really need to go a little bit slower with some of this low carb, high fat switcheroo. Maybe confused about all this total and net macros on fats. We're definitely going to talk a little bit about that. And then the third one is we're really going to talk about inflammation. We know inflammation is the cause of all major diseases. And we talk about inflammation, we're going to really target that abdominal fat. Believe it or not, our abdominal fat does store hormones. It helps actually store, we actually call our fat cells or endocrine cells. They're endocrine, which means hormone, because they do produce things like interleukin 1, 3, and 6. Those are our anti-inflammatory hormones. They also help control our SED rate, our CRP. They also help contribute to things like homocysteine. All these are big medical words, but they're all words that are used when we talk about a combination of inflammation, acute inflammation, invisible inflammation. So I posted something earlier about breast implant disease. We're going to be covering inflammation in a broad spectrum. So whether it's RSD or Lyme's disease or fatigue or obesity, any type of inflammation like that or autoimmune, we're really going to go towards the same type of diet. Take away those foods or the top 10 foods that cause inflammation. If you know your blood type, we can also target a little bit more in that. But I listened to you and what you wanted to know. So that's really what we're going to be doing. So if you just need a Keto 101, drop a 1 down below so I know where to help you with your information. If you need more help, you need individual macros. You need to know when to eat, kind of what timing means your body is metabolically stuck and you can't figure out if you're hungry, sick, tired, or what's happening, then drop me a 2 down below. If you're a chronic pain sufferer and you want to understand how the foods that you eat can affect your movement during the day, can affect the inflammatory hormones that you make, then drop a 3 down below. And yes, Kathy, thank you for sharing. This video is definitely meant to be shared. My goal in the journey on this blog, which I started 9 years ago, was to help people optimize their journey towards health. In the past, I would say, and currently, there's so many tools that we can use, but what happens is you have to find the right tool that works for you. Think of it like a pen or a pencil. Some people like a number 2 pen or pencil. Some people like a number 1. Some people like a mechanical pencil. Some people like a multi-pencil or a fat one. And just the same as people are individualized of what they use to write with, that's what they use to eat or how they like to eat. Some people grew up on casseroles and love casseroles, which create a lot of confusion. But we're going to take you back to the basics. And that's really what this is about. What we've been doing the last 4 to 5 decades is definitely not working. 2 out of 3 women will get diagnosed with cancer. 1 out of every 2 men will get diagnosed with cancer. We know that 80% of women will pass away due to heart disease, but we are going to focus quite a bit on inflammation because inflammation is a leading cause to a lot of diseases. We talk about inflammation, even things like plaquing in our brain from CTEs, head trauma, PTSD. We talk about thyroiditis, which is inflammation of the thyroid or the parotid glands. We can talk about rheumatoid arthritis, which is in our joints. We can talk about autoimmune thing. Anything that's itis, like ulcerative colitis, dermatomyositis, that's all inflammation. What's happening is your body's attacking itself. That's not how we were designed. We were designed to, when we sleep, 7 to 9 hours is what we need as adults. When we sleep, our hormones are supposed to recover, our bodies are supposed to rest, our nervous system is supposed to rest at 7 to 9 hours. So it's really ready to go that next day when we wake up and we call upon our bodies to take action. So what we eat the day before or 2 or 3 days before can affect what we're doing. So I definitely want to make sure you understand what programs we're going to be launching through Ask Dr. Heather and through our office. If you're not in Kansas City area, that's okay. We're going to Zoom you in, Skype you in. We can meet one-on-one. We've got ways to make it HIPAA compliant. We definitely do things based on blood work. So I wouldn't recommend you doing a 2 or 3 fast without knowing what your metabolic panel looks like, what your calcium, magnesium, different elements look like. So what we're going to do here is provide you information, steering it a little bit further away. I've really been on a no sugar campaign for 10 years. That's still out there. I'm still telling you not to eat sugar. But I definitely want to help you eat more mindfully. And I think if we can just forget the sugar thing, we've talked about that. We all know we shouldn't be eating sugar. We all know we shouldn't be having dyes and food colorings and additives. And if we focus on what our body does need, then we can actually move further faster with where we want to be and have that 50 be the new 30s or whatever one's saying. So I really want to hear from you and what you want to know. A brief introduction about myself. Again, I really have targeted I would say for the last 15 plus years on cardiovascular disease, obesity, and cancer. Because we know that I wrote this down, once your body fat is over 25% is when you start to increase, or you're called overweight. You start to increase your risk for cardiovascular disease, cancer, renal disorders, and metabolic disorders, and diabetes. Once it's over 30%, you're diagnosed as obese. So the BMI is kind of an old measurement tool. So I'm going to encourage you in your area, look for a coupon, look for a Groupon, get a bod pod tested, get your Tanita scale tested, see how much your bones weigh, your ligaments, your fat, your water. So you know exactly where you need to be metabolically, because those percentages really do matter. Once you hit over 25% body fat, you significantly increase your chance of all those lifestyle diseases. Just simply lowering your percentage of body fat 2 or 3% can give you significant hope, significant decades on the other end of life, because you're reducing all those risk factors of cardiovascular disease, cancers, and inflammatory disease. And so we're going to focus on that, and we're going to focus on visceral fat. I'm for sure you've heard white fat, brown fat, bare fat, visceral fat, all different types of fat. Visceral fat's that fat around the organs. That's what we need to get rid of. So even if you're at your ideal weight and say that your body fat percentage is 20% and you're a 40-year-old female, but if your visceral fat is above 12, that means the visceral fat, which is that abdominal fat that you might not see. Maybe you look killer in a bikini or shorts or your skirt or whatever. I'm picking on women, but you look great in your clothes and you look like your BMI is perfect. That visceral fat is where we store proteins that increase our Sorry, phone calls coming in. Not ever for sure how to do that. So those interleukin, our CRP, our C-reactive ones, those are all stored in the inflammatory abdominal fat. So we're really going to focus on getting rid of that abdominal fat, moving the scale in the right direction, and preserving our lean muscle mass, which is so important as we age. After the age of 29, we actually start to lose lean muscle mass. There's enzymes If we eat a high carbohydrate diet, there's certain hormones also that actually lead to more deposition of fat. There are hormones that actually lead to increase of breaking down of lean muscles. And yes, I will give a list of pro-inflammatory foods. Things like nightshade vegetables. Aaron, thank you for chiming in there. So oftentimes I have people, number one, there's no nut zones at every single school and even on airplanes. So you take out peanuts for sure. I would take away dairy for sure. Dairy is meant to get a cow to a baby calf to 2,000 pounds in 2 years. It only comes from a girl cow. So even if you're having hormone-free milk, it's still coming via a hormone system. So it's a different game if you're having raw goat's milk, raw sheep's milk. We know there's something in our stomach called polydisaccharide. It's an enzyme used to break down milk. So when babies are born, they're in ketosis. They drink mother's milk. They don't have teas. They're not supposed to eat steaks and peanuts and shellfish. As we evolve and as we get our 5-year-old molars and we get our 10-year molars and we get our 18-year-old molars, that means our body's supposed to eat and chew more food. The digestive tract, the acidity, the whole pH of our tract actually changes as our digestive tract matures. So we're not meant to drink milk, whether it's low fat, too fat, this or that, at the age of 18 or the age of 20. Definitely you can use things like coconut milk and almond milk and nutmeg, things that have a lot more higher fat, healthy fats for our body than have some of those other ones. But dairy is definitely one of those pro-inflammatory foods. Eggs are a big one also, Aaron put down, which is perfect. So you can look at the top 10 allergy foods, which are going to be shellfish, peanuts, soy, eggs, dairy, are just really to name a top of a few. But taking those away and eating a low-carb, high-fat ketogenic diet can make a significant difference. So I want to really meet you where you are, take you where you want to go, offer as much education as I can without overindulging you. I do talk a lot about supplementation. As most of you know, I'm a farmer's girl from Kansas. I remember riding the tractor with my dad as he put down fertilizers. He would till the grass. We would wait for rain and make sure that when we planted that the water was going to come, and we made sure that the bees had good populations and had plants that actually encourage bees to help pollinate. So that's actually supplementing. So we talk about supplementing our diet. It definitely needs to happen. So when we're talking about people losing fat, losing inflammation, that fat cell stores, and again, endocrine hormone cells, a lot of inflammation. So as you start to lose fat and toxins out of those fat cells, things can happen. Things can happen like our skin can get a little bit of a rash. You have to get rid of it somehow. Think of it as fall, and we see all the leaves, actually springtime, and we see the leaves starting, looking at a tree right now, they start to bloom, and then in fall they all start to die off, right? We kind of celebrate that winter time coming. So it's okay to lose a little bit of your hair in the winter time. It's a normal part of shedding. It's okay to, if our skin gets dry, it's okay to do a little bit of dry brushing as our skin gets dry, but we don't want to lose an excess amount of hair. Our body takes proteins, cows, chickens, turkeys, things with eyeballs and legs, and our body actually makes things like amino acids for our hair and our lean muscle. So if you go on a low carb, high fat or ketogenic diet and you're not following your macros and your metabolic system, you may be moving the scale, but you can also be losing a lot of toxins, possibly too fast, possibly dehydrated your body, and possibly losing too many macronutrients too fast. So listen to your body, but do know it is okay that as you change your diet, that your stools may change colors or may increase, because our lining of our stomach actually turns over about every 6 weeks. So as we're getting rid of toxins, just think if you were to eat Skittles that were red and orange, you put them in your mouth, somewhere they turn colors and they come out brown. So those colors have to be stored somewhere, like the red dye number 40, blue dye number 5, yellow this. Those things get stored in our adipose fat tissue. So as you lose fat, it has to come through your breath or through your skin or through the toilet. Our skin is our largest organ. Our pores are open. They're open to the environment every single day. So it is possible that you may get a little bit of a rash or maybe some skin changes, but know it, as that turns back around, your body starts to regenerate new healthy cells by a new way of eating, a healthier, mindful way of eating, that what your body grows back is going to be healthier, anti-aging wrinkled skin, or healthier looking skin, healthier looking hair. And again, I keep pulling on my hair because that seems to be a big concern. Is people will say they go on a low carb, low calorie diet, which is actually too low carb or too low calorie. We definitely have to have energy. We definitely need fat to burn our bodies. We definitely have to be drinking water and having salt. So we'll make sure we touch on those. So the reason I'm going to just focus a little bit more on inflammation, as we talked about before, I have lost my sister at the age of 48, my aunt at 42, my grandma at the age of 82, cardiovascular disease and cancer. I want to make sure that people understand that it's not the genetics that are causing all of this. It's lifestyle. So if we can help you change that lifestyle through our core 4 aspects of health, you're actually going to find yourself in a much healthier, better space and place and enjoying your day-to-day activities as we grow. So yes, I'll definitely get that list down there. Aaron and Aaron are both doing that. And Bonnie, thanks for joining us. And for everyone who's joining us around the globe, thank you for joining us. I'm getting notes from Taiwan and Hong Kong and Singapore. So I feel super blessed that people are tuned in and listening. And what it does, honestly, is inspire me to help learn more about what we need to do. So the topic of question is, if I am on a low-carb, high-fat diet, make sure you're maintaining your calories. Calculate those based on what your doctor will help you with. There's lots of apps out there. Yes, you can get the scale to move by stripping away all the nutrients, but we definitely don't want that to happen because that's going to pro-age your body, not anti-age your body. So healthy fats on a ketogenic diet would be 75 to 80% fat, and your carbohydrates would be about 5 to 8%, and proteins would be 15 to 20. Most of us in the 80s are still stuck kind of in that mindset where we want to overeat protein. Definitely want to keep your protein under 4 to 4.5 ounces per meal, and we make sure that we don't want to have too much protein because that actually gets stored as glucose as well. So now you know that I am born and raised farm girl from Kansas. Supplementation, as in nutrients, we're going to talk about that because we talked about as we start to actually lose some of that unwanted inflammation and body fat, and we have some of those macronutrients will get lost as well. So you can lose magnesium, you can lose potassium, you can lose sodium, you can lose iron. Even drinking too much coffee can actually inhibit iron absorption. So that's why I always want to make sure that you're metabolically safe and in a good place before you start moving that, even if you don't feel and you've got inflammatory markers. So super important to know where those are. Just don't go out and buy some general, what you saw somebody else offer, electrolytes because you didn't know what to do, but we're definitely going to lead this process with you and safely, and know that I'm not here to diagnose, I'm not here to treat any specific medical condition, just bring you current credible information so you can reach your goals where you want to be. And the goal I think for everybody is no one wants to be labeled obese. That's 30% body fat. 25% or under is where we optimally need to be to reduce all those risk factors. So we want to do it safe, and we want to do it slow, and we want to do it steady, and we want to make it a lifestyle, not a diet, even though diet's still one of the #1 words. Make it a lifestyle that's attainable, that your whole family can participate in. Not having mom's eating this food, dad's eating that food, and the kid's eating this food because that's what they wanted. Mindfully eat what everyone else is eating in the house. And we have, if you go to the albums on this page, I've got about 120 different pictures I've taken just of food at my house. A mom of 4 boys, we had people coming and going all the time. I definitely can tell you I overate the fats at Christmas. I'm going to be honest. I love fat bombs, and there's a couple of new recipes I absolutely love, which is the no-bake keto fat bombs. I overate the pumpkin keto cake. So yes, you can still gain fat and a little bit of weight when you overeat on the ketogenic diet. So I am going to be doing a little bit of fat fasting the next few days. I'm going to do a little bit more intermittent fasting, which we'll talk about as well. But just want to make sure that you identify what your goals are and where you want to be. Is it better energy? Is it better sleep? Is it fat loss? Is it decreasing those cardiovascular disease risks, those lifestyle risks, so you can be around with us longer and be around with your family or healthier and in better shape than you were? So as we talk about pain and inflammation, we're going to be doing a 4-segment series talking about foods and inflammation. We know sugar feeds inflammation. We know fats stop inflammation. So as we talk about these 4 different sets of programs in the up and coming videos, I'm definitely going to be talking about supplementation. There's so many great herbs out there that can help your body do that. So if you're having trouble getting off sugar, for example, you can use more cinnamon on your food. You can take cinnamon capsules. You can buy a high-grade dose of Genema, which is an herb, which is great to balance blood sugar. I love exogenous ketones. They came out 2 years ago. It's been one of the biggest game changers for me, helping people getting rid of their cravings and balancing out their body, because what's happening is we're stopping the yo-yoing of blood sugar. Your blood sugar rises, you feel happy, epinephrine, norepinephrine, then it drops, and there's dopamine, and we crave it again. And if we don't feed the sugar and we haven't had enough fats or protein, then our body taps into our fat, or it taps into our lean muscle mass. So if you've ever gone to the gym and you've worked out super hard and thought you had the best workout of your life, you get the parking lot and you're like, where did I park my car? You don't have any energy, no glucose, no ketones for your brain. We didn't fuel properly for that workout. So we are really going to focus on fueling properly for our day-to-day operation, which is going to bed on time, waking up on time. And we're going to talk a little bit about supplementation and what optimal levels should be for magnesium, for sodium, for potassium. Farm girl from Kansas, we used to have 18 inches of topsoil. Now we only have 2. So we know that even the highest grade organic spinach, kale, broccoli, celery still does not have enough macronutrients. I read somewhere last week we need like 12 to 15 cups of vegetables to get the B vitamins that our body requires every single day just to operate. So I do support supplementation, whole food supplementation, all natural, non-GMO, gluten-free, soy-free, all that good stuff free. And so I'll definitely be happy to answer questions about that and lead you along this journey. So I'm super excited for 2018. I'm super excited to share with you knowledge that I have, that I've gained through treating other people or reading or been to lectures, watching other podcasts, so we can help you optimize your own health. So getting back to the nitty-gritty of it, I should have done this sooner. I know I'm talking too long because I'm delaying what I'm going to say. So you heard me talk about the first 15 years cardiovascular disease and cancer, because I've lost, my sister has already gone to heaven at the age of 48, and my aunt at the age of 42, my grandma in her 80s. My mom's already had diabetes. She's had a quadruple bypass. So there are lots of people that I know and love have left this lifetime too early because they didn't have the right information about lifestyle versus genetic and how our body needs to feed. However, 3.5 years ago, I was in a skiing accident. And I was involved in an accident that caused a rare neurological disease called RSD, which is reflex sympathetic dystrophy, or chronic regional pain syndrome. I don't mention it often because I don't often talk about myself, but I do feel that I owe the community some awareness so people understand that there is invisible pain that comes in many ways. Cancer can be an invisible pain. RSD is an invisible pain. Lyme disease can be invisible pain. Depression, obesity, so many invisible diseases that we need to talk about that we can actually help through the lifestyle, the core 4 aspects that we're reading. So the rare neurological disease that I have has left me with the inability to walk, but I can still talk. I have good and bad days, so I definitely try to show you my good days and save my spoons, so to speak, when I have energy that I pop on here and help educate and help at least one person change one thing about their lifestyle or diet to help them be optimal. So when we talk about pain, inflammation, we are going to strip away sugars. I know we want them, but there's just no purpose. There's no essential carbohydrate. And we talk about the ketogenic diet, which is different than the low carb diet. So every ketogenic diet is low carb. Not every low carb high fat diet or every low carb diet is ketogenic. In order to be a ketogenic diet, your body in a low carb state has to be breaking down the lean muscle fat. Yes, you can drink exogenous ketones, get in ketosis, but that's not the same as endogenous ketones, just so we make that differentiation. But the exogenous ketones can work as amazing signalers to help release that abdominal fat, help our body stop attacking itself through that process of inflammation, through the interleukins, the CRP, lots and lots of biochemistry. They help reduce cravings. They also help balance out our autonomic nervous system. Our brain dictates everything that we do, what we walk, what we see, and how we interpret life around us. So if we can get our brain functioning better, really focus on the brain gut health this year in 2018, amazing things are going to happen. So I'm very excited to be here with you this year, 2018. I will try to be very mindfully and get online at least 1 to 2 times a week and be brief. I know today is long, but I want to make sure you understand where we're going with this page. Please feel free to invite and share. Also working on my blog where I've got about 1,000 different recipes there, some different articles there, kind of like a little mini library where I've stored some information. And that's askdrheather.net, so askdrheather.net. Go there and you can enjoy some recipes. Please feel free to post on this page. I want you to collaborate with me. We all have a certain gift and talent. If you've got something that's amazing, a book that you've read, something that's really changed your life, share it with somebody. Let somebody know that it's okay. Oftentimes people will say, well, she's 300 or 400 pounds. Why hasn't she started on a diet? Sometimes things are so out of balance that you cannot figure out where to start, kind of like my garage, right? Where do I start? There's so much stuff everywhere. I still have boys. They've grown past some of the stuff, but where do I start? The same thing's true with your health. So we're going to take you inch by inch. Inch by inch is a cinch. Yard by yard is way too hard, right? We want to go down that field at a good rate for our body. We all heal at different times. Our body all has challenges day to day, nighttime, daytime, that actually can inhibit or help our bodies heal. So we're going to be very mindful of what our body does and how we listen to it, and know that when things happen, it's okay. If we get a spell of diarrhea, it's okay. We definitely don't want constipation. Please let me know. That's a water, salt issue. We got to get things moving for sure. But knowing that if you happen to have, Dave, I'll get that just a second here. But if you happen to have some excess loss of hair, that's okay. It's like the leaves falling off the tree. New things are going to come. But there's also diseases called alopecia areata where that can be more metabolic. But how we check that? Simply a comprehensive metabolic panel. You have your doctor just check your regular blood, check your cholesterol, check your magnesium and vitamin D, normal things checked on your annual visit, and we can really tell what those optimal levels are. So Aaron, thank you for putting that down there. And on that website, simply join. It's not perfect. I'm not techie, but you guys have figured that out. But as I put new posts here, you can find that there's different categories there as well. I'm going to be posting about the next 10-day menu diet. So call to action today. If you want to be a part of our 10-day reshape group, let me know. Put a big number 10 down there. We have a different group we'll add you to. We're going to take you through step-by-step, 10 days, step-by-step, how to get started. I think motivation is number one. If you could get someone motivated and get them going, that's the very most important thing. The second most important thing is that we make that motivation that we change become a habit. Hey, Natalie, thanks. Awesome. So once you make a habit out of it, that's a lifestyle and so easy. Think of someone who gave up like Diet Coke, like me, right? I gave up Diet Coke a long time ago. Loved it in college. I don't even know how I gave it up, but I did. But I knew it wasn't good, and I wanted to live and breathe example for you. I'm definitely not perfect. I overate fat, like I said, at Christmas. Pam made these amazing no-bake fat bombs, and I'm like, I'll have one today, I'll have two. Okay, you know, so no one's perfect, but what happens is when we fall off the wagon, we have to have those tools and that accountability to jump back on the wagon so we know where we go. So I'm watching all the 10s down here, and I will definitely reach out to you in a private group, and we'll get you going on a 10-day kind of reset, reboot program. We also offer 30, 60, and 90 days through our office. We're working on doing things more via telemedicine that are HIPAA compliant, so we can look at the lab work and make sure that everything is safe, your blood sugar and other things are. But I'm super excited to be here. Thank you guys for joining me. If you have questions, list them down here. Let me help you with those. I'm here to help answer those simple Sally questions, we call them, and no question is not too silly to ask. The number one thing I do want to leave you with is get rid of the negativity today. So even before we start the 10-day, get rid of the negativity. If it's a Netflix show you're watching, it's all about death and killing and conquering. Get rid of that. Watch a cooking show. Watch a house makeover show. Maybe change the radio station you're listening to. Maybe if you're reading some gory book or something, pick up some, I don't know, some happy books. Put those positive things in your mind. We're so over-inundated every single day. I am going to call upon a couple of my friends, a new book author that I've met, Amberly. She has just released her book through Grit and Glory, and she's going to help us with some motivation and inspirational speaking. She didn't know I was going to announce her on here today, but we're going to be together working on some of those things. We're going to bring you some cooks into the kitchen so you guys know what to make and what not to make, so you have those substitutions that your body needs, because sometimes you just need a chip, and if you can take a pepperoni and put it in the oven and make a pepperoni chip, it's a little bit better than a potato chip. So anyway, we're going to have lots of hacks for you to do. 10-day group I'm super, super pumped up about. If you are watching this on a replay, which I know I've got hundreds of people watching on a replay or sharing it, and you want to be involved in the 10-day and you're watching on a replay, let's put a tulip or some type of flower, any flower that you like, just put down there so I know that I don't want to miss you. I want to make sure I include you in there. So we're going to do things inside the office, outside the office, via Zoom, because that's HIPAA compliant and we can keep everything where it needs to be. So Eric, thanks for your support down there. Super excited to help everybody on their healthcare journey. I am going to sign off now and tell you that I want you to function on the positivity and hope. And thank you guys for being here with me today, and stay tuned. Turn the notifications on for this page. Go over to AskDrHeather.net. If you go to .com, that's a veterinarian. You might find some good bits there. Also, YouTube channel where I do some baking. Again, everything's in the kitchen. There's no fancy equipment bought, but there definitely are a lot of recipes also on the YouTube channel, which is Ask Dr. Heather. It's a picture of myself and Dr. Ralph, so you can probably figure that out. But lots of good recipes there. So I am so, so excited for 2018, like I haven't been excited for another year. I'm excited to help people reduce inflammation. I'm excited to help people reduce the statistics that are happening in and around to us in our society. So have a blessed, blessed day, and thank everyone for joining me. And again, watching on a replay, put your favorite flower down, put a 10 down if you want to be involved in our 10-day reset program. I will email you information. Actually, I'm going to have you do this. So if you wrote a 10 down there through Messenger, email me your direct email, because then I can compile that and keep that blind copied, and we'll give you all the details so we can do that online from your home while your kids are in bed, or maybe over your lunch hour. So have an amazing day. Get moving. The sunshine is out in Kansas City, and have a super, super blessed day.